Thank you, Brigadier General. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce from the 173rd Airborne Brigade Battalion, Mr. Wambi Club Cook.
Good afternoon. Wambi Cook is my name. I can say without equivocation that Wambi Cook would be standing before you were it not for the deeds of Carlos Lozada on the 19th of November, 1967. Without hesitation. I first found on the internet that there was a Carlos Lozada Park in the Bronx. I knew he was from the Bronx. So about, I think 11 or 12 years ago, I made a pilgrimage from California. Specifically, I visited family, but I flew up from my hometown of Pittsburgh to that memorial to pay homage to this gentleman. And I went out on a Saturday, I remember it was a Saturday morning, and it's right in, those of you who've seen it, you know what I speak. And I got there about 7:30 because I said it's going to get crowded. It's a public park, yet no one came out. And I remember sitting on a bench right there and waiting so I could talk to somebody about the significance of this park. I waited an hour, hour and a half, no one came. I had to stop a lady on the street to take a picture of me at the park. Fast forward last year, I came in for a wedding, and I did. I took the train up to the park. I knew how to get there, and I went over again. And at that time, I found the marker, the marker in the ground. I had to get someone. There was a Catholic, it's a parochial school right next door, and I walked over. They were having a class, was the playground, using the playground, and I asked them, "Are you familiar with this, the significance of this park?" And they says, "No." I said, "This park is honoring a Congressional Medal of Honor winner." And they looked at me perplexed. I said, "You've never heard of Carlos Lozada?" "No." I said, "How long have you been here?" I guess I'm talking to the teachers, that is. They didn't know. They'd never heard of him. Now we fast forward even further. We're in Oklahoma City at our annual reunion. So Tommy, we're sitting there. I said, "You know, the 50th anniversary is coming up. If there's something that we're going to do, you guys are going to do in the New York area, I'll come. Whatever it takes, I'll be there. Just let me know." So in the last few months, I saw where Paul Luna, he's been online with Tommy, and Paul finally, he did a yeoman's job of putting us together. And he asked me, he said, "Would I like to speak?" I didn't plan to speak. I came to honor the brother. I know Linda Lozada, and Linda sent me a text a couple weeks ago, and it said she was thankful that I was going to speak when she read it online, when she read it on, or heard it on Facebook. And I told her I'm not one for written speeches, but if whatever I say will be from the heart. I was very concerned when I got here because I didn't hear anybody else that knew Carlos would be here. And as we pulled in, I happened to find there's, hold your hand up, Joe. Not that, okay, Joe Gray. Joe was with us in Alpha Company. Then Louis Lugo comes over and says, he's from Puerto Rico. He said, "I was with you guys too." So I wasn't alone. And I think Joe and I were probably, I'm not going to tell you the story that was the official record that was read about his deeds said it all. We saw Joe. Joe Gray probably saw him last, because just like in the movies, when we're overrun, and we were overrun, he told us, I can remember rushing past Carlos. You can't say it for certain, but in all likelihood, if he hadn't stemmed the tide, I can't tell you how many of us would not be here. We had over 82 men, I think it was 87 the count, killed that first day. I want to correct something. On that marker, head marker, it says Carlos's death was November 20th. Carlos died on the first day of the assault, which was the 19th, which is 50 years ago tomorrow. Now, I guess that's the military way. We couldn't recover a lot of the bodies. And consequently, I think that's why he's listed as a 20th KIA. We lost the 173rd in the month of November, from November 2nd, culminated at Hill 875. We lost 202 Sky Soldiers. We had over 300 wounded. In our A company alone, out of 130 that started off on the 19th, only 25 of us were extracted from the hill unwounded, unharmed, physically, mentally. A lot of it remains today. It's hard to imagine my life, what it would have, the turn it would have taken. I wouldn't have had 5 beautiful daughters, a son, 4 or 5, I forget the number, grandchildren. I'm going to see my great-granddaughter. And you don't think I thank this gentleman today? I don't think any awardee of the Congressional Medal of Honor sets out in the morning and says, you know, today is a good day to win the Medal of Honor. You hear the term or the word hero used quite almost arbitrarily. Heroes are hard in the true sense, hard to come by. Linda Lozada, I met personally in 2007 at our reunion in Florida. And she pulled 2 or 3 of us that knew Carlos intimately. And those who knew Carlos, picture, if you will, the voice was that of a younger Vito Corleone. He had a little rasp. And he had that New York accent. And he was a slight guy. And he came in right after, in June of 22nd of 1967, that same Alpha Company, we lost 76 men killed in one day. 76, still the costliest battle lost by Americans of the entire Vietnam War. And Carlos came in a couple days later. And one of our guys had gone on rest and recuperation, and Carlos got the machine gun. Those guys know what I'm going to talk about. The lifespan of a machine gunner in a battle is about, that's all. Because that's what the enemy, he hears that, he wants to mow down that firepower. And he took over the gun. Gun's damn near bigger than he is, but he wanted the gun. These are the kind of gentlemen that stand before you. Sky Soldier, we call this Sky Soldiers. How proud we are and how thankful we are for guys like Carlos. And I bet I could go around each and them and they can tell me a story about somebody while they were in Vietnam that made a significant mark on their psyche. And they can thank for them being here today. Carlos Lozada, in the true sense of the word, is an American hero. I remember Linda pulled us aside in Florida, and she wanted to, because she'd only met one other person that was with him during the battle. And Carlos, she called us and she said, in so many words, did he really deserve the medal? I was taken aback. I said, why would you even hesitate? So I had to reaffirm, and I think she spoke to a couple others that reaffirmed the same thing. Absolutely. I can recall a couple days, maybe the next day, Joe, you can correct me, but we got together and said, this guy deserves the Medal of Honor. Now, we're still in the battle. We are still in the battle, but we wanted to make sure if one of us lived, we've got to make sure we put his name in for that medal. In March of this year, I was asked by the Department of Defense, POW, MIA, to participate in a mission in Vietnam whose job to find the remains of 3 173rd that were missing on that Hill 875. Whether you know it or not, we still have 1,600 plus U.S. American soldiers unaccounted for, missing in action. And we went over there to find the remains, see if we could find the remains to bring back to the family. I am the only American soldier, 173rd soldier, to have fought in the battle, to have gone back to the battle site. Some of you saw that Ken Burns' special 10 days, 18 hours. Ken Burns, they did a segment where Carlos was highlighted and the battle itself was highlighted, all of November. And this plot of land, this terra firma in Vietnam, 875, they would not allow Ken Burns and his production to get on the hill. Over 10 years, they asked, can we get on the hill? And this is what we heard from his co-producer. They would not allow them on the hill, but we got on the hill. Myself, 2 helicopter pilots, and some recovery experts. We did not find the remains of any of the 3 we were looking for. However, I have here some sacred soil from Hill 875 that came from the hill. This just wasn't picked from any random piece of dirt. As many of these last, as many as they'll supply, I'd like to, anyone who chooses, I'd like to hand this to them, present this to whomever. And you can be assured that you'll carry this, you'll please honor it in the manner in which I'm presenting it. Hill 875. Chris. Yeah, brother.
Any of the guys that served on Hill 875 would want a piece of this sacred soil?
You know, like I said, well, Joe's has some. Do you want another one, Joe? Joe. But, yeah, I got more. But I want to recognize, like I said, Joe Gray was with us in A Company. There's Louis Lugo that he just met. He said, I was there, a native of Puerto Rico, but Louis, come on up. And you know, he knew Carlos, he had to know him, he's Puerto Rican, so Boricua, huh? Yeah. And then here's Augie D'Agostino, right? Augie was on the hill with us. And Charlie Company. I'm just I'm glad I'm not alone. The spirit is there, and I've still got about 7 or 8, so I'll let them go. They know each other.
So, his cousin.
Absolutely. Some of that's a little, you can break it up. It's yeah. Okay. I'll have those, and unfortunately, I had made up 50. I had a granddaughter make up 50, and we had a celebration for the 50th anniversary, and I misplaced them. Yeah, well, we were celebrating, and I have no idea. I'm hoping it pops up somewhere in my car, but and if I find it, just for your information, folks, if interested, and some of you may have already viewed, we did a video from our mission in March on the hill, on Hill 875, and anyone who would like to view that video, you can come and I'll forward you the video that you're welcome to view. We couldn't post it online at publicly because apparently we used some non-copyrighted music to accompany it. But it's a cool 19-minute video. I think you'll like it. And I also wrote a narrative of our mission. I want to thank you for Tommy, Paul. I'm honored again for allowing me to take this moment as a representative of the 173rd Alpha Company, 2nd 503rd Infantry. And please don't forget Carlos after today. I'm a little sad because I'm not going back to the. If I come to New York, I'm going up to the playground. I'll miss it this time, but he'll be in my heart. And every time I do come this way, you can rest assured I'll be at that, and just me sitting on a bench, and in my heart, as I do every day, I'm saying thank you, Carlos James Lozada. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Forgive me. I got a text from Linda, and if I may share with you, it said, "Hello, Womby. I hope you and your beautiful wife were enjoying your vacation. We were in. I was just told you would be speaking at the ceremony for Carlos. I just wanted to say before, thank you. I was very happy to read you are going to attend. It did not surprise me. I must say, because you are a true and sincere man, and the fact that you will speak about Carlos in the 173rd. I'm very thankful. I have one request, and she asked me, would I mention Yvette? I found the story. Here's some irony, just for your information. Carlos was supposed to leave for. Carlos didn't come to Vietnam until June, early June of 1967. He was scheduled to come much earlier. On this picture, that's from jump school. That's A09. I can show you a picture. I was A08. I got a picture, and but I went over in February of 1967. And ironies of ironies, the story that she shared with us 10 years ago, Father Waters, for those who their chapter is named after, there were 2 Medal of Honors winners. He accompanied Carlos, was Father Waters. Father Waters, Carlos went to Father and said, you know what, I want to be here for my baby. Father Waters was able to defer his deployment to Vietnam in order for him to be there for his daughter, Yvette, to be born. And I promised Linda that I'd make sure how ironic that was. And Linda, if you're watching this, what do you got? That's for you. Thank you.